Good morning, this is Penny Ferguson, a living leader, on this absolutely gloriously sunny Wednesday. I was so pleased. I got sent a question last week saying, can I share my thoughts on this? And I'm delighted to do it. This was what I was asked. Have I got any thoughts on the best way to support a son who'll be off to uni in September? How to balance the fine line between supporting him and letting him find his own way would be great. So it's a really good question. Interesting, she put in brackets afterwards, not business-based question, I know. What does that matter? Leadership is about every part of your life. It's not just about the workplace, it's about every part of your life. So any thoughts on the best way to support a son who will be off to uni in September? How to balance the fine line between supporting him and letting him find his own way would be great. Now, actually, this is really, really simple. I'm not saying it's easy, that's different. It's really, really simple. Recognise that, when you've brought up your children and the first time you're really letting them go out into the world is quite probably university, where suddenly there's going to be all sorts of different influences, all sorts of possibly suggestions that they do some things that you would hope that they wouldn't be doing or you would worry about. And the main thing is to make sure that they're happy to still go on talking to you. Because when you care about somebody so much, you want to protect them. You want to make sure that they're going to be safe. And so, needless to say, you can't stop giving them advice, or that's the temptation. Now, be careful and do this when you go to uni and don't do that and everything else. And the very first thing I'd say is before they actually go, and maybe 2 or 3 weeks before even, just have a conversation with them and say to them really openly how proud you are of the way they've grown up to now and how very thrilled you are that they're going out into the world, but at the same time you're really nervous and that you find it hard to let go as a mum. It's not easy, and you're not going to find it easy, and so you're going to do your best to not give advice, but to be there any time that he wants to talk to you about anything at all. And if you start giving advice, say to him, tell me, because I want to help you think things through for yourself. So the first thing is to position it and say that your temptation is going to be overprotective, and talk about it so that it's not so difficult when he goes. And if you find yourself before he's leaving, now remember this and don't do this and do that, just say, if you've had the conversation, he can look at you and say, hang on, mum, you said this is what you want. Yeah, okay, sorry, darling, whatever, because you're going to be tempted to do it. The next thing is, when you do speak to him or he phones up, however often he phones up, and says he's about to do something, or he's going out with friends to a party, and you're thinking, oh God, the way he's talking about there's going to be drugs or there's going to be whatever, doesn't matter. Your temptation is going to be to leap in again. So that's where you need to become very, very skilled at questioning. So immediately say, oh darling, I'm sure you're going to have a lovely evening. So tell me, do you think there might be any risks attached to this evening? And then listen. So ask him more. And if he says, well, there are risks, okay, so how do you think you might handle that if that comes along? So what you're going to do, as much as you possibly can, is help him think things through for himself. It's being able to create the situation where he's going to want to go on sharing things with you because he knows, A, you're going to listen, B, you're promptly not going to leap into telling him what to do, how to do it, when to do it, etc. But you're going to ask questions that help him really think it through. Keep telling him that you're proud of him, how well he's doing. Tell him how much it means to you that he's able to talk to you and be open with you. So focus on as much as you can on saying how wonderful it is that you're able to communicate. But if you start doing lots of criticising and if you start giving lots of advice, I can tell you for certain sure he'll stop talking to you. He'll start doing things and you won't know what's going on. The more you listen and just ask questions. So there's going to be times when you're going to want to leap in so quickly, so much, because you're thinking, oh my God, how are you going to do that? How's he going to get out of it? And the risk is that you'll not only be worried, but then you'll drive him away talking to you. So the two things that you know, it's really, really easy. The two things you need to do is listen and ask questions. And if you see something with a really big risk attached, you may even say to him, darling, I just need to share with you that I see a couple of big risks here. What do you think the risks are that I might see? And then say to him, so do you consider those risks? And if that sort of thing happens, how do you think you might deal with it? So it's all the time, and that's how you're going to get that fine line between helping him and, to be honest, helping you. And I know I say it's simple, and it is. Is it easy? No, it's not, because you're still going to want to leap in and give that advice. But if you want him really to continue, if you like, growing in a way, which is where you want him to grow, where he takes responsibility for every part of his life, those are the two most important things you can do. And please, please remember to give him lots of praise. It doesn't have to be about big things. It can be about little things, really little things. Darling, I love the way you really listen to me. Darling, I love the way, thank you for giving me feedback when I leapt in and started giving you advice, and you did it so gently. Or whatever. Find out all sorts of things that you can say, well done. Apart from anything else, that's going to make him feel very grown up and wanting to behave all the time, almost in a more grown up way. So, and I believe it'll develop your relationship even more. Even if it's amazing now, it'll just develop it. So I hope that's helped. I don't know. I hope it's been of some interest to other people. But I'm so glad when somebody sends in and says, please share with me what your thoughts are. So for any of you, I would love it if you would share any challenges, any questions. It doesn't matter if it's about home life, about work life, about anything. As I always say, always, and please don't hear me saying that I've got the answer, that I'm right. All I will do is share my thoughts with you and hope that they give you at least some different way of thinking or some ideas that resonate and you think, oh, I might give that a try. So there we go. Those are my thoughts for you, my meandering thoughts for you for this week. So I hope you will have a wonderful week and enjoy this lovely weather that we're now experiencing. I will look forward to seeing you next week. This is Penny Ferguson, a Living Leader.